Have you ever thought about what it would be like to get a blueprint directly from God? Not for just any building, but for something truly extraordinary, a kind of bridge between heaven and earth. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to unroll the divine blueprint from Exodus chapter 25. Every single detail, from the kind of wood to the exact weight of the gold, is laid out. This is the story of how God told his people to build a physical place for his presence to dwell.
So here's the plan. First, we'll see how they gathered all the materials, and it all starts with a gift from the heart. Then we're going to get into the heavy hitters, building the Ark of the Testimony, crafting its incredible golden mercy seat, then the table of his presence, and finally, we'll forge the great lampstand. Let's jump right in.
All right, first things first. Before you can build anything, you need materials, right? But this isn't your typical construction project. It all kicks off with a really special kind of invitation.
Okay, let's get into it. Verse 1 kicks things off with God speaking directly to Moses up on the mountain. Then, verse 2, this one is so important, it sets the tone for everything that follows. God says, "From everyone who gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering." Think about that. This isn't a tax, it's not a command to pay up, it's an invitation. The only rule? It has to come from a willing heart. So right from the start, this is about partnership. The entire foundation of this holy place is built on the free, joyful generosity of the people.
Now for the shopping list, and wow, what a list it is. Starting with verse 3, God asks for the metals. Just picture it, piles of shimmering gold, gleaming silver, and sturdy bronze. Then verse 4 moves to the fabrics. We're talking about rich, royal colors, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, plus fine linen. Absolutely beautiful. Verse 5 gets into the more rugged materials, tough acacia wood for the structure, goat's hair, and these really cool ram skins dyed red. Then in verse 6, we get the stuff that fills the air, olive oil for the light and incredible spices for the anointing oil and the sweet-smelling incense. And to top it all off, verse 7 calls for precious stones, onyx and other gems. You can see how every single item is the absolute best, a collection of treasures for this sacred space.
So you've got all these amazing materials, but why? Verse 8 gives us the answer, and it's absolutely breathtaking. "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." This is the whole reason for everything. This isn't just about building some fancy tent. The entire point is to create a physical, real, tangible place where a holy God can come and live right in the middle of his people. Just let that sink in for a moment.
Then comes verse 9, and it lays down the single most important rule of the entire project. There's no negotiation on this. God tells Moses he has to build everything according to the exact pattern he was shown on the mountain. This wasn't a rough guideline or a serving suggestion. Every single measurement, every material, every little detail had to be followed perfectly. No ad-libbing, no creative license. This was a heavenly design being brought down to earth.
Okay, so the donations are in, the rules are crystal clear. It's time to start building. And where do they start? With the most important, most sacred object of them all, the Ark. All right, let's watch this come together, verse by verse. Verse 10 kicks it off with the core, a simple box made of acacia wood. It's about 4 feet long. Now watch this. Verse 11, they take that wooden box and they completely cover it, inside and out, with pure gold. Imagine the gleam. They also add a gold molding around the top. Verse 12, they cast 4 gold rings and attach them to the 4 corners. So what are those for? Verses 13 and 14 explain. They make long poles out of that same acacia wood, cover them in gold, and slide them right through the rings. And then verse 15 gives this fascinating instruction. The poles have to stay in the rings, permanently. They're never to be taken out. It's this beautiful symbol that God's presence is always ready to move with his people. But it's so holy, you can't just touch it.
So what goes inside this incredible golden chest? Verse 16 tells us exactly. You shall put into the ark the testimony which I will give you. And what's the testimony? It's the stone tablets with the 10 Commandments, the physical evidence of the covenant between God and Israel. This ark is literally a treasure chest designed to hold God's own words.
Okay, the box is built. Now it needs a lid. But listen, this is no ordinary lid. This is maybe the most significant part of the entire structure, and it has a very special name, the mercy seat. Verse 17 describes how to make it. And get this, it's not wood covered in gold like the box was. No, this is one solid, heavy piece of pure gold, made to the exact dimensions of the ark. Just try to imagine the sheer weight and value of a slab of pure gold that size. It's incredible.
And it gets even more amazing.
Verse 18 says to make 2 cherubim. These are powerful angelic beings out of hammered gold, one at each end of the mercy seat. But here's the part that's just mind-blowing from verse 19. They aren't separate statues that you glue on later. The craftsmen have to hammer them up out of the same single piece of gold as the lid itself. It's an unbelievable feat of artistry. Then verse 20 gives us the final image. Their wings are stretched out over the top, forming a kind of canopy, and their faces are turned toward each other, looking down at the mercy seat. It's this incredible picture of reverence and protection.
And then, verse 21, the final assembly. The testimony, the tablets, goes inside the ark, and this incredible mercy seat is placed right on top. The whole thing is complete.
So why all this work? What's the whole point of this object? Verse 22 tells us, and it's the climax of the whole design. God says, "There I will meet with you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim." This specific spot, this is where God himself will meet with humanity. This isn't just a piece of furniture, it's the very meeting place, the communication hub between God and his people.
All right, next up on the divine blueprint is another key piece of furniture for the sanctuary. This time, it's a table.
So verse 23 gives us the basic specs. It's going to be made of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, a cubit wide, and a cubit and a half high. But, of course, it doesn't stay simple for long. Verse 24, just like the ark, it gets completely overlaid with pure gold and gets a gold molding. Verse 25 adds a decorative frame around the edge. Then, verses 26 through 28, you guessed it, it gets gold rings and gold-covered poles for carrying it. And check this out. Verse 29 says all the utensils that go with it, the dishes, the pans, the pitchers, they all have to be made of pure gold too. Every last detail is covered. Okay, so what's a fancy gold table for? Verse 30 tells us its purpose. It's to hold the showbread, or the bread of the presence. They were to set bread on this table before God always. This was a constant visual reminder of God's provision and the covenant he had with his people.
Now we come to the final item in this chapter, and honestly, it might be the most complex and beautiful of them all. We're talking about the great lampstand, the menorah. The way this thing is made is just astounding. Verse 31 gives an instruction that is almost impossible to imagine. The entire lampstand has to be made from a single piece of pure hammered gold. It's not a bunch of pieces welded together. One piece. Verse 32 describes the shape. A central shaft with 6 branches coming out of the sides, 3 on each side. Then, verses 33 through 35 get into the incredible details. It's decorated with bowls shaped like almond blossoms, complete with ornamental knobs and flowers. It's like a golden, blooming tree. And finally, verse 37, it's topped with 7 lamps ready to bring light into the sanctuary.
And just to make sure we get how insane this is, verse 36 repeats it. The knobs and branches have to be of one piece with the main shaft. Then verse 38 says even the little tools for it, the wick trimmers in their trays, have to be pure gold. And verse 39 gives us the total weight, 1 talent of pure gold. Now a talent is about 75 pounds. So imagine 75 pounds of gold hammered and sculpted into this one single intricate beautiful piece. That is some serious craftsmanship.
And how's the chapter end? Verse 40 brings us right back to where we started, with that critical command. God says to Moses one last time, "See to it that you make them according to the pattern which was shown you on the mountain." The message is loud and clear. Follow the blueprint. Exactly. And that just leaves us with this huge question, doesn't it? Why? Why be so incredibly specific about every single detail? Well, it seems pretty clear this was about more than just building a nice-looking tent. Every single element, the pure gold that doesn't tarnish, the mercy seat where forgiveness happens, the lamp that never goes out, it was all a physical picture of a much deeper spiritual truth. This divine blueprint wasn't just for a sanctuary. You could say it was a preview, a roadmap pointing toward a redemption story that was still to come.